welcome to Thor and the Boy episode. This is episode 6, yes. And what do you have over there, Boynton?
Well, what I have here is our new guest.
Our new guest?
Yeah,
Did they pass the background check finally?
they
Like,
passed with flying colors.
oh,
Although it doesn't fly, it just kind of flaps its wings around. Oh, whoa, whoa!
what? What kind of guest?
This is Gary the Gobbler.
What?
And
What?
yes,
Wait, does he have an IMDb? Like, is he an official actor?
well, you know what? I think you may have seen him in many films.
Uh-huh.
That have anything to do with the day of Thanksgiving and the pilgrims and such. So yes.
Okay. Well, and
No, this wasn't my idea.
what questions are you going to ask him?
Okay. What's wait, I was gonna ask him what's his favorite side dish to have with him. Don't ask him
It's
that.
pretty dark, dude. Like, imagine if the turkey had a holiday where he like ate a human once a year. Would you be offended by that, or?
I think that would be a good movie. Can you
Uh,
imagine like a family of turkeys? They're getting ready for Thanksgiving, and then they have this like this human corpse lying on there with a big apple in its mouth, and they're
uh-huh.
about to feast on it. Yeah,
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 that'd be pretty dark.
yeah.
Do you think he should
What do you think about that?
should he pitch that to Wild Dogs?
Yeah,
Michael Fred will make that.
maybe.
Maybe
No, man. I think it's more of a magical
a magical
hammer,
hammer.
a production type
Oh,
thing.
let's see.
Yeah, yeah.
But how do you think his acting abilities are? Like, have you acted with him before?
Well, he can gobble on cue.
Okay.
like, tell him to do it.
And action. Actually,
Okay.
there is a fun fact. The turkey did help us out on the guard room shoot.
Oh, okay. All right. Good.
So
Good.
I think that's his first credit. I'm not sure.
All
I'll
right.
have to
All
check
right.
his page.
Well, it is kind of sad that we did kind of miss the Thanksgiving episode. That was supposed to be,
I
several
mean, he
weeks
he
ago.
could have been eaten for the Thanksgiving episode, so
There
maybe it's a
there you
good
go.
thing.
Yeah. Instead he's racking up IMDb credits.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he doesn't have to stress about Thanksgiving until next year. Because as if we put ourselves in the turkey's shoes, like just I think it would be very stressful for his species because you have to be like, oh, I hope they
Yeah.
don't pick me. You know?
Your little fleece, it's the color of cranberry. And it's
Yes.
just making me think, oh no, I didn't mean it like that. And he's freaking out a
He's
little.
freaking out.
Okay, yeah, yeah. Once I mentioned the cranberry, he thought I was, you know.
Whoa. I
Hey,
mean,
all right, all right, all right.
that's a dish that's made from like.
Oh wait. Is this where their ears are? I was like, don't listen. I don't want us to hear. I mean, I don't want him to hear what we're talking. Like
Of course, of
like
course.
mashed potato. Well, no.
Well,
Okay.
I mean, he probably eats potatoes. They're like a vegetable in his diet, you would imagine, right?
Yeah, yeah, something like that.
But what do you think his favorite movie is?
Um, let's see. Now you're forcing me to think. What do you think his favorite movie is?
That's a good question. I think it's probably not a Thanksgiving film because it's
Are
reminds it.
are there any Thanksgiving movies? I mean, besides the recent slashers.
There's a few. It's not as popular as the Christmas movie genre.
Okay.
I think Thanksgiving it's more underrated in terms of the cinema world,
Yeah.
which is a little sad because I haven't seen his acting range, but I'm sure he'd like the chance to express himself because, this industry is mostly dominated by humans.
Okay.
And I think
You're really going with this, aren't you?
I mean, we'll dive deep into the conversation with the turkey because he's the guest. So I'm sure he's going to give us a lot of good insight into what it's like to be a turkey actor, and hopefully he'll give us some good pointers. Maybe he wants to be a turkey director. Who knows? So.
Speaking of like holiday movies, did you know Pluto TV has a Hallmark channel and they play like Christmas movies like all year round?
Really?
Yeah, and they're really bad movies. But if you just want like something to fall asleep to, I mean they're good and they all pretty much follow the same formula.
Okay.
If
you won't need a good title for like a creepy Thanksgiving movie, it should be called like Thanksgraving. That'd be a good.
Ah, thank goodness. I've been starving all morning. I thought I'd never find something to eat.
You killed Gary Gobbler!
He was our guest!
Oh, no, really?
Yeah, well.
Oh, man. I'm sorry. Well, I didn't mean to ruin the show.
Thor, go preheat the oven, please.
Preheat the oven.
Yeah, we're going to have to act fast. That's not going to stay good for very long.
Okay, you want to cook the guest?
Well,
I don't think Gary would want to go to waste, so...
Okay, well give me Gary. I'll take him to the oven.
Sorry about that.
Now we don't have a guest? What are we gonna do?
Well, it looks like our guest today will be
This person?
the lovely Sherill Quinn.
And so Sherill, didn't you celebrate Thanksgiving? What's with the murder of Gobbler, the turkey there?
Gobbler? You mean Gary the Gobbler?
Oh man, I killed Gary. Oh, I can't believe it. Yeah, well, I don't really celebrate Thanksgiving. I don't believe in murdering innocent turkeys for no reason unless you're really hungry.
Okay.
You know what I think?
What?
Sherill wanted to steal his shine because he was the lucky new guest on our show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you just pretended you were a big Thanksgiving fan.
Well, and I saw what you guys were doing, and I kind of wanted to be part of the show.
Okay. All right. Well, welcome to the show.
Yeah, welcome to the show. It's good to finally have you over here at my new place. I know we did a show back in the days with Derek, and now I have a new podcast with Thor.
Hello.
Yeah.
And you've listened to a few episodes, so it's a little quirkier than our previous show. What do you think?
Yeah, I've been enjoying it. The production quality is great. I love all the added animations and sound effects. It's really fun.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm glad to have you on. We recently just worked together. We wrapped the guard room.
Yeah,
So-
I'm really excited to see how that turns out. That was really fun.
So yeah, like you look really cool like in your scenes. I don't want to like spoil anything, but
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
it's definitely pretty awesome. And did you have a favorite part about playing that role? Because
Well, it was a fun role to play. It was fun to put together. It was different from anything else I've done. I don't know. I really enjoyed that night with all the stairs and the cityscape. I felt like something about that just felt really cool.
Yeah, that was a fun shoot, definitely.
Yeah.
And you've been in a few scenes with Sherill, right, Boynton?
Yeah. So Sherill and I were in the long street together. She played my fiance, and that was like a really raunchy comedy I did a few years ago.
Well, we've been fiancés in a couple.
Yeah. And then she was my fiance in a film that I wrote and directed called Secret Bliss.
Mm-hmm.
But that, yeah, I think the long streak is the one where I first met Sherill, actually.
Yeah,
And
that's
then-
how we first met, and it was crazy too because I'd also just signed on for Justin Smith's project, and I don't
Yep.
know how you knew it right away, but like we met, and then you're like, "Oh, you're on Justin's thing too," and so it's
Yeah,
like, "Oh,
I think
nice
I
to meet
saw on
you."
IMDb.
Oh, because you
Yeah.
already gave us
Because
the
he
credit.
puts the credits on, like,
Yeah,
well, I mean, I like to say, like, years before it's finished, but he just puts it on indefinitely. I mean,
yeah. So it was cool because then we ended up spending a lot of time together, and
Yep,
it's like
yep.
we automatically just became friends, and
yeah.
and Justin's project was fun to work on just because I got to see you guys,
Mm-hmm.
you and Olga and Derek and everybody else. Like everybody else in our crew was
Yeah,
super
that
fun.
that was. I think we had like a nice, like, because we were like kind of like the core group of that film. Like
Yeah.
we were the party goers. We were the ones that were always hanging out every weekend. We were
Mhm.
the ones that, I mean, you were our group was that way, but then you and Derek were the doctors.
We're the doctors, yeah.
Yeah. So and then you guys kind of became attached to our group in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
I really wish that movie would come out, but because I'd really like to see some of the footage from it because
Yeah, you had some
Yeah.
really good footage.
yeah, it was fun.
Gone with the Dead?
Yeah, like shooting it was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, it's supposed to come out December 29th,
Oh, really?
according to what I heard from Olga, who asked the director. Because I guess he said he had. He was working with like 9 editors, but they all kind of like flaked out on him. So now he's editing it. So
A lot of work. Yeah.
but it is kind of like a weird date to like launch your film because it's like
Yeah.
a lot of
was-
people are traveling. Then I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Like, is it supposed to be symbolic? I don't know. I feel like usually if something's like New Year's Eve-ish, it's like has something to do with the holiday. I don't know.
Yeah, so we'll
Or
see.
Christmas.
Because December 29th is next Friday. It's like a week away. So we'll see. what
Yeah,
happens.
that's wild.
Because Cheryl and I, we started shooting that in like July of 2019.
Yeah.
Wow.
Was it 19 or 18?
29. I think it was 2019 because in 2019 we shot the long streak. Yeah, it was 2019.
Uh-huh.
It
Was
was.
it?
It was.
Oh.
Yeah.
It was the end of 2019.
So we started in the summer of 2019, and then
then
it
in-
stretched to like winter of 2019.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. But
Mm-hmm.
either way, I mean, it's 2024 in a few days. I mean, like in a couple weeks. So,
Yeah.
it's been a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But
I know time flies.
yeah. So yeah, we've worked on several things together, and now so far all of our guests have been the guard room guests.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, but this time I asked Cheryl, and I was just like, it just turns out that's how it worked out.
That's how it worked
You know
out.
what? You know what? From here on out, we might as well just go right down the guard room.
I mean, if we get Fred on.
yeah, get Fred
that'd
on.
be
Nose.
fun.
They could ask Nose. We could ask Bob Payne. We could ask Steve Tanabe. We could ask Trent. Is Trent's in it, right?
He is?
And
Oh wow, there's so many like because I played like such a specific part in it. Like there's so many
Yeah.
people that I don't even realize are in it.
yeah, a lot of people. Jeremy Tanako,
Mm-hmm.
so on and so forth.
I know, and you were going to be in it. So, I mean, I guess technically you're in all the podcast episodes, but
Yeah.
Did you like how was the remote duty last episode? Did you get tired?
What remote duty?
You know, when you had to like fast forward my episode when I was thinking on the script?
Oh yeah. So it's funny you told me to record that part, and I recorded it while I was at a hotel because
Mhm.
my girlfriend and we did a little staycation in Pacifica, and because she had to use this like credit that was about to expire for like Marriott hotels, so we just stayed in Pacifica one night and we ate oysters over there, and I almost totally forgot about like recording that thing. I recorded it the next morning actually. I thought it was pretty funny. I was like wondering what this was about, but he made me record this short thing about where I say, how long does this guy need to think? Because like while he's writing the script in the last episode, he's just constantly thinking. Yeah.
Well, because it's hard to write and talk at the same time, so there were some parts where I was just like thinking or reading through what I written,
Yeah.
and so I had to like fast forward that part. It'll make sense when you watch the episode, but
Well, yeah, it's really hard to carry anything just by yourself without someone to
Yeah.
counterbalance.
Yeah. So do you have anything cool that you're working on right now?
Yeah, I've been I have a few things slated for beginning of next year. A lot of ideas. So I'm not sure I'm not sure how things are gonna happen yet, but the next project I'm gonna be working on is it's actually like a Russian spy film. It's supposed to be styled after like the Humphrey Bogart film noir style. Yeah, I'm really excited about it. We have our first in-person rehearsal tomorrow, so we'll see how that goes.
ooh.
Yeah, it's really cool. I haven't had anything where I play Russian yet, so I'm excited, and I'm also like, I have to get this right.
Have you been working on the accent?
I have, yeah.
Good. Can we get a little sneak peek or no? You don't have to.
I don't know. It makes me nervous. It makes me very nervous.
Okay, hey, that's
It sounds good. It
I like
sounds
it.
good.
Thank you.
It
thank
sounds
you.
natural. Yeah.
Thanks.
Nah. Yeah, that's all I know. But okay. We'll talk a little bit more about like your film stuff. But this is like kind of more of a quirky podcast than the one I previously did with
Right.
Derek. We get into a few segments on food here. So while we're on the food topic, what do you guys want to talk about? Like, since we're talking about Thanksgiving and stuff, like what your favorite dish? What do your Thanksgiving look like? Like, what do you guys normally eat? Is it just a traditional stuff?
Yeah, well, it depends on what I feel like doing on Thanksgiving, because like the rest of my family, like my dad and my sister are here in California. They don't really care about Thanksgiving, but I love Thanksgiving if I'm not working. So if I'm not working, I'm like, hey guys, let's get together. And then like, we'll make a ham and like I'll make the stuffing and the potatoes and yams and all the stuff. Like I like to make all the stuff. But if I'm working or if I'm like not really in the mood, then we don't really do anything. So this year I was working, and so I got breakfast with my sister, and that was pretty much it.
Okay.
Yeah, we usually just keep it kind of traditional too. So just kind of the basic stuffs.
Yeah.
So usually like the mashed potatoes and the turkey and the cranberry. And my mom usually makes some like really good rolls.
Ooh.
So those are pretty good. And then usually the desserts, we do like the pumpkin pie.
Yeah, I love
And that's
pumpkin
usually
pie.
good. So yeah, how about you, Boynton? Is your
Yeah, I mean, like the last few years, like as my parents have gotten much older, like we just go out for whenever we eat on any holiday, and we'll have like sometimes they'll have like a Thanksgiving themed meal where you can buy the all you can eat buffet over in Fairfield over at the I think it's called the Courtyard Marriott. But if you buy like this, if you make reservations, you can buy like all you can eat for like $40-$50, and everything's like turkey, mashed potatoes, stuffing, all that stuff. So yeah, I've always loved like Thanksgiving type of food.
Yeah.
it's very comforting. Like
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say. Comforting.
Like I'm not a huge fan of turkey on its own because I think a turkey is one of the more blander proteins. But slathered with like gravy and all that stuff, it's really, really good.
Have you seen that Popeyes will sell you like a Cajun turkey?
What?
Cajun turkey.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Around Thanksgiving time, they'll have like this Cajun turkey, but I've never. Maybe one year, me and you should try it.
Well, I've been told that if you cook the turkey right, like, because there's people who take it seriously and like will start cooking it like 2 days before. They'll just have it on a really low heat, so it's really tender. And I've been told that that's like amazing, but who's got the time for that? I don't.
Yeah.
So I kind of opt more for I'll cheat. I'll get a rotisserie chicken that's already made, or maybe
Yeah.
a ham that's like pre-cooked and then you just heat it up.
Yeah, I mean the slow cooked concept kind of works for any kind of meat because
Yeah.
if you have like a crock pot, you could basically take like the cheapest cut of meat, like chuck roast or something, and throw it in there, and it's gonna taste delicious as long as you put the right stuff in with it. But I think there's just something about slow cooking that makes meat, like easy to eat, super tender.
Yeah.
Do you cook a lot at home or?
Not really. Like I mostly cook stews. Like I'll make chili. I really like chili. Like anything you can throw in an Instapot. Like
I'm just thinking of this. It's nothing about with you. I'm thinking of chili, and I immediately think of this scene in The Office where Kevin Malone in The Office, he gets so excited to bring this big old vat of chili on like a potluck day, and he says he wins awards for this chili every year. And as he's walking into the office with this big vat of chili, he just spills it all over the office floor. And then he's trying to scoop it up with like, it's like actually kind of sad. Yeah.
Probably hard to clean up too.
Yeah. But I'll have to show you that scene later so you know what I'm talking about.
yeah, that sounds hilarious.
Yeah.
So did you know the day before Thanksgiving is the most popular day for pizza because nobody wants to cook that day?
I did
I
not
did not
know
know
So yeah,
that.
that's like
That makes sense.
yeah.
So out of all the pizza chains, what are some of your top favorite choices? Where do you like to order from?
Well, I don't have a lot of pizza now. Like I can't have a lot of dairy, but I do really like Sliver Pizza. They have this phenomenal vegan pizza.
Where's Sliver Pizza?
I mean, it's a chain, but there's a few. Like there's one in Oakland on 51st Street. There's another one. It's a chain though. Like they're all over the place, but that was the main one
Okay.
I've been to. Yeah.
Yeah. Wait. Now going back real quick. Did you say you can't have dairy? Is that what it is?
Yeah, I can't really. Well, I'm lactose intolerant,
Oh,
which
like-
I found out like a couple years ago, and I'm like, oh, my life is ruined because I lived on cheese and yogurt.
So is like, can you have a little bit of dairy or not at all?
I just would rather not risk it.
Okay.
I'd rather not risk it.
Has it do you feel like it's kind of benefited you to cut out dairy in general?
Yeah,
Like
I mean, because it's not actually good for you. There's this myth that milk is like high in calcium, but it actually depletes you of your natural calcium. So milk is actually not good for people in general.
Well, yeah, they had that campaign in the 90s where it's like, if you want strong bones,
Yeah,
drink milk.
well, and the reason behind that was because I guess when things started getting outsourced or something, like there were all these cow farmers making milk, and for some reason it wasn't as big of a thing anymore, and so the government had to pay all these farmers for their milk, and so they were like, well, we're just going to take all this milk and like give it to the Americans. That's why there's so much milk in schools and so much promotion of milk as a healthy product.
Well, I mean, like if you look at like what they were promoting as far as diet goes in general, like back in the days, I mean, so remember they used to have the food pyramid, right? And then like what you were supposed to get the most of was like grains and carbohydrates and starches
Bread.
and then
Yeah.
and at the very least that you needed was like proteins and things like that. It turns out that food pyramid was completely upside down.
Yeah.
And it's because of all these companies like Kellogg's and all these companies that were pushing cereal, bread, and all that stuff. They had a lot of money to gain out of pushing that. So they wanted more people to consume sugar, carbohydrates, and stuff that's just like, stuff that you love, Thor.
Well, it was marketed, during my.
It worked for you, Thordarson, because he loves candy.
Yeah, same.
But I love candy too. So,
Speaking of what are your to-go candies?
My to-go candies. I love Kit Kats.
Oh, Kit Kat.
I think we all agree on Kit Kat. That's one that always comes up.
Yeah, it's the perfect candy because it's mostly wafers, so it's light, and then you just have so it's not like too much sugar, too much chocolate. It's
Great texture.
just right. Yeah, the texture. It's got that crunch.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the candies with caramels in them, it's just too chewy, I feel like. So I really like Kit Kats. And peanut butter cups, obviously.
Oh,
Reese's,
yeah.
okay.
Those are
Yeah,
good.
I love Reese's peanut butter. Or even better is the Trader Joe's dark chocolate peanut butter cups. Those are so good.
Trader Joe's has some good candy.
Mhm.
I mean, like, I had it's like their version of the Swedish fish or whatever.
Oh, I haven't had that.
I think, do you know what I'm talking about?
I know the Swedish fish.
Yeah.
I haven't had the Trader Joe version.
I think that's what it is. But yeah, it's super good.
Mhm.
Oh, I'll be right back.
Mhm.
This is a thing Boynton does. He gets up and leaves the podcast.
So what I have here is Haribo candy cane gummies.
Oh, candy cane.
So it's seasonal. And the seasonal candies are usually really good from Haribo because they haven't been on the shelf that long. And so you don't know how long some of these gummy bags have been on the shelf because some of them just don't get picked up. But these seasonal ones are made very currently, so they
Unless they're from last year.
don't ruin it for me. But we should all try a piece.
All
right.
The red one.
Go ahead. Okay. Take as much as you want, but just keep in mind that you'll be chewing it.
They're
I
candy
want to try
canes.
one of
That's
the white
pretty cool.
ones too. Well, what's the green ones taste like? Are they like mint? Oh,
Or,
apple.
candy apple.
Oh, I like apple. I'll try one of each.
It's got a pretty good flavor.
Okay.
Mm.
So, I'm trying the green apple one first.
Mm-hmm.
I did the white one first. What's the white one flavor?
What's on there?
Is it?
The white one is sugar plum,
Okay.
Mm.
and then the red one is cherry. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
What one did you try first?
The white one.
Mm.
It is chewy.
It's really good, actually. I don't know if you saw the hello. It's weird because I'm like, this is gonna drive the listeners nuts just hearing it through.
It's gonna drive the editor nuts later.
But I'm not sure if did you see the episode with me and Olga?
Well, I listened to it.
Us and Olga, but we were trying candy corn in that one
Mm-hmm.
because we were talking about how it's so like nobody likes it for
I
some
like
reason.
it.
You like candy corn?
Yeah, I like it. I don't eat a lot of it, but yeah. Like when I was a kid, I would always eat it in sections. Like you have the little white part, and then the orange, and then the yellow.
Hey,
You found the
finally.
candy corn fan.
Like it's not as good if you just eat the whole candy corn. You have to bite off the little colored parts. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
We'll have to try that technique.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're not gonna get candy corn for like another year.
Yeah, which I realized it's all the same flavor, but I didn't think that when I was a kid. Mm-hmm.
It was Holly who brought that up, and so she said if you pair the candy corn with a hot cup of coffee, the flavors work well together.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't tried that.
Because she said the bitterness of the coffee is balanced out by the sweetness of the candy corn and vice versa, and they just work in harmony.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there's that. But yeah. So we do go into our little food talks on this show here.
Are you a ice cream or gelato person, Boynton? If you had to pick one to have right now.
Ice cream or gelato?
Yeah.
Let's see. I know. I mean, like, I'd say ice cream. I mean, like, it would sound like I'm more of a fancy person if I say gelato, but I don't know. I just feel like ice cream has always been consistently like good for me.
Mm-hmm.
You can't go wrong with classic ice cream. So.
Yeah.
Wait, what's your
I'd probably
favorite
say
ice cream flavor?
My favorite?
Ice cream flavor. Yeah, let's go there.
Depends on the day, but I really like the mint with the chocolate chips. That's a good flavor.
I never liked mint ice cream.
Oh no.
No.
I know some people don't because they're like this reminds me of toothpaste, but yeah. And cookies and cream is a good one.
I love cookies and
Yeah.
cream. That's so good.
I think any ice cream with peanut butter works well.
Yeah, it does work well. I don't, as long as like the peanut butter part isn't like overdone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last year I tried this like spicy ice cream, which is just weird.
Spicy
That
ice
sounds good
cream.
though.
Yeah, they put like some type of pepper in it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's interesting.
But yeah, you would take a bite and you would feel like the coldness, but then the heat
Oh,
would
that is
linger.
That's strange.
And so it was strange because it's like I'll take another bite to cool down, but then you're just
Mm-hmm.
going back and forth.
But then again,
Yeah.
wait, you don't eat ice cream anymore. That's
Oh,
right.
I do every once in a while.
Oh, okay. I was like,
I can-
okay.
yeah, I
You're
can-
like, no cheese, but you'll make an exception with ice cream, huh?
Actually, I do have pizza from time to time too.
Okay, all right, okay.
You have like a pill or something, right?
Yeah, I
You
have
can
my
take
little
beforehand?
the lactate pills or whatever. Yeah, I love the cookies and cream, dulce de leche. Is it? Yeah, and like Haagen-Dazs is my favorite. And Ben and Jerry's, Ben and Jerry's salted caramel core. That one's so good. And yeah.
Cherry Garcia.
Yeah, I
Ben
love
and
Cherry
Jerry's.
Garcia.
Oh, that one's
Oh, there's
good.
just so many good ones.
What do you think of the sherbet flavors?
You know, I've always loved sherbet.
Really?
I've always loved sherbet. Yeah, like rainbow sherbet was like my thing as a kid.
It's just so colorful.
Yeah, sherbet, and I like sorbet too. Sorbet's great. I mean, sorbet doesn't taste like ice cream though. It's something else. It's
Yeah.
more like it tastes like more like a popsicle. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that doesn't have dairy in it, right?
I don't think sorbet has dairy in it. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah. So your flavors are dolce.
Dulce de leche.
I can't say that. I can't
Pretty
say
much caramel. I like
Yeah,
I
yeah.
like stuff with caramel or like butter pecan too. That's really
Butter
good.
pecan is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, that one is so freaking good. And what else? I like I like cookies and cream, mint chocolate chip. A lot of the ones that we've already mentioned. I mean, I think these are a lot of fan favorites. But you know what? Nothing, really, if I can't think of what I want in the moment, I always just get French vanilla. Like that.
Yeah,
is-
that's good. Well, and then you can add things to it too. Like sometimes when I was on a really big sugar binge, and you get a packet of Oreos and then you just dip them in the vanilla ice cream and you have like the best of both worlds.
Gosh, yeah, that sounds. It's just. It sucks that there's this thing called calories where you have. Because if it wasn't for all these like. And all the best stuff has way too much of it in such a small amount. Like when you look at serving size that they say it's like 200 per serving size, and I'm thinking like, how many servings?
Yeah, what's the serving
They're like,
size?
how many servings per container? And it's
Yeah.
just like there's 10 servings in this one container. I was like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
rough.
Crazy.
So the serving size of a Pop-Tart is only one, but then they put two in a bag.
Yeah,
So,
that's
like,
not fair. Like,
You have to eat both because you don't want one to like get stale.
well, and one's not enough.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, Thor. For breakfast, is it Pop-Tarts and Oreos? No, just kidding.
I usually have fruit
Oh,
for
you
my
do?
breakfast. Yeah, so it's
what
usually
kind of
like
fruit do you have?
banana, strawberry, sometimes an apple.
That's healthy. That's very
So-
healthy. No, I just remember on set, didn't you have some like Super Mario Oreos? right?
Yeah.
Was that on your set?
Are you talking about the guard room?
Yeah, the guard room.
Yeah, those were good.
Super Mario, Oreos, and Pop Tarts. I saw.
Yeah, I made Rich eat a Pop-Tart.
Wait, is
What,
it
had he not had one?
He had had one for like 5 years or something, I think. So
Rich Gonzalez eating a Pop Tart? I could totally see that.
it was just like me and him. We were like the first ones up.
Mm-hmm.
We were like, let's eat a Pop-Tart.
You know what's actually really good? The toaster strudels. Remember, you
yeah.
put that glaze on it.
Ooh, that
You
sounds
toast
good.
it and then you put the glaze on, right?
Yeah. Oh man, that was good.
That sounds good.
Yeah, it was really good. Hey, well, here's something I learned recently. So did you know in the slang term for hot dogs are glizzies?
No.
Where's that
I don't-
slang?
Wait, I'm gonna look it up. You guys.
I know
talk
they
for a
are
sec.
sometimes called Baners from the UK.
Yeah, well, those aren't
I mean,
those
those
aren't
are more
actual hot dogs though. They're like,
sausages, but-
yeah.
Okay, let me read this because I just Googled it. It says, with roots in the rap world, glizzy is slang for a Glock handgun. The evolution of the word to include hot dog comes from the extended magazine of a pistol, which is about the length of a hot dog. And now people are calling hot dogs glizzies. You know?
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
so-
I don't follow the
Yeah, I
rap
feel so
culture
behind.
too
But-
much.
but I it was just so weird when I heard about that. I was just like, and I saw it in like some pictures. People are saying, "Oh, I'm putting down like 5 glizzies."
So
I'm
it
like,
can either mean a gun or a hot dog? Kind of?
something like that. Yeah. But yeah, look it up.
Okay.
Okay.
I think it's a rather fun name for a hot dog.
We'll have to talk to Michael Fred about that later tonight and see if he's familiar with that term.
He's a big fan of hot dogs, so.
So, Sherill, I see you're wearing a Slipknot t-shirt,
Yeah.
which is pretty metal. And so...
Are they metal? Is that what that is?
yeah.
I don't know. Some people would argue. I think.
I mean, it depends on how elitist, I guess, you
Depends
are.
on
but
how hardcore you are.
hardcore, but they were a popular band in the 2000s,
Mm-hmm.
and they're pretty good. They're pretty heavy for being like as mainstream as they are. Like
Yeah.
their second album has like it's almost like death metal at some parts. So
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I feel like they have their own sound. I'm not like a big rock aficionado or anything. Like, I'm sure there's other bands that sound like Slipknot, but they have a very specific, distinctive sound, I
they
think.
do.
And what I love about Slipknot, too, is they're from Iowa. They're from, the middle of the Midwest. And they made this big name for themselves despite the odds. And I love that,
Yeah, you're
And they
from
spoke to a lot of people.
Minnesota, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. And I think we talked about this in the previous podcast. But when did you move to California from Minnesota?
I moved here in 2013, the beginning of 2013.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
10 years.
Yeah. Yeah. 11.
Yeah.
So
11 years. Yeah.
Wow.
it's pretty cool. Do you miss Iowa at all or Minnesota?
The Minnesota.
Yeah.
There's a difference.
I corrected myself. Then.
Yeah.
Yeah. I miss my friends there. I miss my brother. He's still out there. Like, I miss them. But I go back once a year. So
Mm-hmm.
I get to see everyone and catch up. And that's nice.
Mm-hmm.
And so, what was like your first dip into the acting? Like, did you see a movie or something and you're like, I want to do this? Or
Yeah, well, it was thanks to my friend Leo. Like, at the time I was trying to get into photography, like product photography, wedding photography, and Leo, who I'd met like when I first moved out here, we'd met in passing through this parkour group, and I added him on Facebook because he had like unfriended me because we never actually talked. And then he saw that I was into photography and he was doing photography at the time. So we started collaborating on some projects, and, he was really getting into video more. And I showed him this monologue I'd found. It was like this little romantic drama monologue that I thought it would be fun to do something with. And so him and another friend, we brainstormed this little short film and we shot it in a night, edited it. It was done. And that was such a fun experience for me. And it was like, oh, this is something I want to do. And, it grew. It's a passion that grew. It wasn't necessarily a passion right away. It was like, oh, this is fun. I want to do more of this. And I didn't really take it seriously. And then at some point, I started taking acting classes, and the teacher pointed out to me that, like, you can just get by or you can actually like work hard. And it takes really hard work and commitment and to make it as an actor. And her implying that I wasn't going to make it really made me want to make it as an actor. So I started taking it more seriously. And but then, there's so many phases in acting. Like when you first start, it's like, oh, I get to be on camera and I get to like,
Right.
I get to see myself on camera, and there's like this glamour about it and this novelty about it. But, you get to another phase where you're like, no, I want to prove that I can do something. Like I want to prove that I'm a good actor. And then, it was a few years in before I actually really fell in love with acting. It's like, I love doing this and I can do this in a way that nobody else can do, because every person has their own voice and their way of approaching things. And, nobody else is going to do this role exactly the way I'm going to do it, because I'm going to bring myself into it. And so it's been a long process of learning and coming to love acting, I think.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I know what you mean with the little phases and stuff. I mean, you and I think we may have even started at a very similar time.
I think we're both just getting started.
Yeah, because I started taking my classes in September of 2016, and then about a year after that, I think it was like August or September of 2017 when I started actually working, and then it just kind of went from there. But like, I remember like in the beginning, everything, it was so exciting. And just like,
Yeah.
oh, I get to be in front of the camera. Oh, I can't wait to show people.
Yeah.
And this and that. And then, you do enough of those. At a certain point, you start thinking like, well, do I really want to do this one-liner? And I don't mind doing things like that, but I started seeking like roles that, I started really just wanting roles that were interesting, where there was complex character traits and things like that. But now it's gotten to the point where I would rather just do background work than take a role that's not interesting. You know what I mean? That's like, I don't want to be, like the server that comes up to the table and says, "Can I take your order?" And that's my role. That does nothing for me. I'd rather just do background work if that were the case. But it's taken those years for me to actually go through all these different motions for me to come to those terms. Like, I want to challenge myself as an actor. Do you think you went through those kind of phases where you started thinking of it differently, like, oh, I don't want to just take any role just to take it,
Yeah, I've definitely got. I'm gonna wait for that to go by.
Sorry.
Yeah, I've definitely gotten more selective about what I want to do. Obviously, I mean, what's really important for me, and there's different things that are important too. Like, oh my goodness.
Okay, yeah, I think they're gone.
Right on set. Oh my goodness.
My neighbor that's just revving his freaking.
He's like, is Boynton filming the podcast? Today's the day.
Well,
All right.
Well, yeah, but that's the funny thing is there's. Oh my goodness.
He waits till you talk.
I know. Like, what the.
But anyway, we could either add it around that or keep it in to make it keep it funny. But anyway.
Yeah, but I mean, it's interesting because every actor has their own set of priorities and what's more important to them. Like some actors are there for the paycheck, and there's, that's great. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, some actors are there for the experience. Some are like me. What's important to me is the footage, like being like, hey, see, I can do this, and it's not so much. I mean, obviously, I would love to, like all actors, like we would all love to be able to pay our bills just with acting, but until I get to that point, I love having the chance to try something new with each role and to get that footage for myself to be like, see, this is something I can do. So I'm very much in the footage phase of things where, I mean, some people prioritize the exposure more. Like this one person we worked with was all about getting into film festivals. And he's like, I don't care if you pay me. I want like this to get into festivals and get a lot of exposure. And so I think sometimes there can kind of be bad blood between a filmmaker and actors because they didn't have a conversation about what they were both trying to get out of the project.
Right. I mean, there's so much to say about this industry and the people in it, but you get to know people enough, like in this industry, you can almost see all of their motives. Like you can see who wants to really become a great actor, who just wants this to, and then there's some people that just want people to have this illusion of this glamorous actor life, like I'm famous or something, which is anything but. Like this life is, unless you're on the A list, it's not glamorous. It's a lot of hard work there, and it's pretty thankless in many respects.
You deal with a lot of rejection.
I mean, you deal with a lot of rejection. But I think, the greatest thing about for me is like I have this new network of friends. I have a really close knit group of friends outside of the industry, but I have this entirely other like family in this industry that I've like really connected with, like you two. Like throughout the years we've become pretty close, right? And
well, we've just started hanging out, but yeah.
Well, I think that's the cool thing about filming is that like it does bring
it's a
people
common
together.
interest that brings people together.
Well,
yeah.
The thing is, I'm not that close with all the. I mean, like, there's so many actors that. I mean, I'm sorry to say, but I'm like turned off by them, and you know what? So I like the actor.
I thought he was gonna name drop someone like this person.
Well, we can talk about that off camera, but I'll tell you what it is. So the actors that I stay very close friends with, they all have something in common, and they all have this like integrity about like trying to become better artists, right? And it clearly shows in their work, and that's what they care about. They care about the work, getting better, doing. And then there's other actors you can tell. The only thing that they're seeking is fame. Not even the money. They don't even care about the money. They just want the fame, this illusion to show people like I'm famous. And I'll tell you one thing. They're the least talented out of everybody. I'll keep it at that. I know I'm talking trash, but these are not the people that I'm friends with. The people that I'm friends with are people who have like really good artistic integrity and they want to get better. And it has nothing to do with the fame. I know to a certain extent we have to market ourselves as like I put up my footage all the time. I put out like behind the scenes stuff, but this is not glamorous, and it really drives me nuts when there's certain people that are trying to throw this illusion out there like there's some A-list celebrity, and it's like it's so cringe because it's just like, you're not fooling anybody. You know why you're not fooling anybody? Because we're all in this industry and we know it's bullshit. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like the only people you'll fool are the ones that are not in the industry. And the people that are in the industry that you actually want to impress, those are the ones that are going to be turned off by that type of behavior. You know what they are impressed with? They're impressed with talent. And talent has to be shown. I mean, all they have to do is look at a clip of you or samples of your work, and they'll see if you're talented. And in the end, that's the only thing that matters. Can you act?
Well, I mean, okay, you say talented, and I mean, I want to add a thought to that because I mean, sure, there's natural talent where you're going to be like pretty good, maybe off the bat. But there's a lot of actors out there who weren't naturally talented, but they put the work into it.
Right,
And
right.
something my first acting coach said is she's like, the talented people a lot of times don't actually get that far. It's the people who weren't talented, but they worked hard at it, and because they knew they had to work hard at it, and they became better actors. Where if someone's talented and they don't like constantly work to improve, they're not.
I totally get what you're saying. And it's just like they say with some of these like athletes, right? Like some athletes are so naturally talented that they're that they don't work hard enough. But yeah,
It's hard for them to actually like
yeah.
get to where they
And there's
work hard
actors that are like that too. I
Yeah,
mean,
absolutely.
they don't show up on time. They're not off book. But they're so naturally talented that they they feel like everything else is beneath them. So I've seen that before too. But they say there's this bodybuilder. His name is Phil Heath, right? And he was blessed with all the best genetics for building muscle, right? But he said he's also the hardest worker. And he said when talent works hard, he said, then you can't beat that combo because that means they have both,
Yeah.
And a lot of really talented people rely on their talent soul. That's the thing that they only rely on. So they start falling short in so many other ways. So in that sense, a lot of directors, producers, and things like that, they don't even want to work with that person because that person treats like the work is beneath them.
Exactly.
Right, yeah.
Well,
so
and
I totally get what you mean. Yeah.
Well, and a lot of times they might not even know that person's there because there's this kind of this misconcept that like, oh, if you're like really good and you're this, that, and the other thing, like that role's going to come to you. But if you're not on your hustle every single day, self-submitting, advocating yourself to casting directors, agents, which I'm not saying I do that every day, but like as a rule, you have to constantly be putting yourself out there. And if you don't, like, people don't know you're there. Like you could be the best actor in the world and nobody knows that you're there. They would cast you if they did.
Yeah. And there's something to be said about that. And it makes me feel a little guilty because I haven't been submitting myself for a lot of things. But I will say that's not because I don't want to work hard. It's because
you needed a reset, kind of.
Yeah, because my heart is not quite in it as much as it used to be. Like, I still love acting. I just don't like the business of acting. Like, it just, it kind of drives me nuts. And for me to, like, stick to it, I want to be in love with it. Like, I want to be in love with it the way I was in love with it in the beginning. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of that magic is kind of gone. So I'm trying to rekindle that magic by just trying to work with people that I really like. Like I would love to work with you. I'd love to work with Thor or Michael Fredinelli. So with people that are just like, I admire their work too. So so I want to limit it to that rather than seeking all these other outside like opportunities for submission.
That's the thing about this craft is that it takes a lot more work than people like realize.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's a lot of work. And I mean, yeah, I think it's important to step back and take a break when you're feeling like you
burned
need
out,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, like this past year it's just been about self-reflection for me. I found acting class I really liked and I'm just working on getting better. So then when I'm slowly starting to self-submit again more, but I did get an agent and a manager I'm really happy with. So I'm like, okay, I don't have to worry as much, but like, yeah, I'm just now getting back into that hustle of submitting myself again because I felt it was important to step back and like reassess and work on myself for a while and take a break so that when you come back, you really love what you're doing instead of like pushing yourself to do something when your heart's not all the way in it for any number of reasons.
Can you tell me about like I know you've worked a lot and you've done some great work, but what's like one of the roles that like, it could be one of your top 3. What's one of the roles that you're really happy that you did and that, you felt like it was a role that really did something for you as an actor, or even like as an artist or something like that.
Yeah, well, it's constantly changing. I mean, when we made your film Secret of Bliss, like that was my favorite thing I'd done.
Yeah,
You know, I was
Awesome.
so happy with it. Yeah, but then, you know, I'm constantly growing and learning too. So, I mean, last fall, a year ago, my favorite thing I'd done was this short film that's in the film festival circuit right now. It's called Never Say You're Sorry. It's a comedic role. It's about this woman, myself, who's dating a reformed serial killer. Super funny. And yeah, I'm really happy with how it turned out.
That
Like,
sounds funny actually.
it was so funny. It was so much fun.
A reformed serial killer.
Yeah, yeah, I got to see it at another Hole in the Head film festival just a couple weeks ago.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm still very proud of that role.
I love it when you like I pick up like a really good script, and when you're reading it, you're just like it's like it doesn't feel like work. You're like, oh my God, I just want to be in this movie. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
exactly.
You can like see it in your head.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then lately my series Strings Attached, it's 1.5 seasons. It's up on Amazon Prime right now. And that there's a scene, it hasn't come out yet, but like when I did that scene, it was very cathartic, and it was like a new moment for me, a new depth of acting for me, where I just felt completely immersed to the point that I didn't have to think of anything. And it hasn't come out yet, so I can't really say anything about it. But like I've hit my best point so far, like very recently, and I'm looking forward to having more moments like that.
Yeah, I think we talked about it like before, like on the phone. Like I always told Cheryl, I was like, you know, I could totally see you in like the roles like Ashley Judd had like in early 2000s, in that time around her career, when she did like Kiss the Girls, Twisted, High Crimes, like a strong female lead type where you like, you know, you're up against some sort of crazy antagonist and you have to prevail by being a badass or something. Like I don't know, you have the look for it, and I don't know, I think you have the demeanor for it too, like naturally. But I think we talked about that before.
Oh,
What do you
thank
think? What do you think about something like that?
Yeah, I'm definitely a lot more interested in psychological thrillers, crime. I've been told I have a good look for like the detective role, the lawyer, the stuff like that, like drama roles.
That's one of my
I'm
dream
actually-
roles. Is the lawyer role.
The lawyer.
Yeah, I mean, actually, yeah, like
Wait, are you gonna be a lawyer soon?
no, well, I am in this corporate drama. It's
Okay.
actually my boyfriend, Chris Marsol. He wrote it, and then we both starred in it recently this August. And yeah, I'm really excited for that. And I feel like it's very much like my casting, and there's a lot of like twists and turns.
Sounds awesome.
Okay.
That's all I could say about it. But I
Yeah.
just keep having to plug some of these wonderful projects I've been so blessed to get to work on.
Cheryl,
hopefully-
I have a question. Do you ever have days where you feel like you have those days where you're like, I'm the worst actor ever? You have that self-doubt, and like, how do you like pump yourself back up? Like when you
Yeah.
go
it's
there.
like not like I'm the worst actor. Like I know I'm not the worst actor, but I'm also not the best actor yet. But I'm going to be someday. I hope. I don't know. Yeah, I mean it's hard like when you see someone else booking something after you haven't booked something for a long time, and you're like, how does this reflect on me? Even though it has nothing to do with you, and that person's been hustling their ass off just as much. And it's like, you're happy for them. You are happy for them, but at the same time, you're just like, I'm never gonna get there.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I don't know if you caught what I said.
I did. I mean,
Like, I am happy for them. I'm like, no, please. Like, how did that guy? You know, I'm just being in full transparency. There's certain people you're not happy for. That's just me. Cheryl is probably different from me.
I don't know. I feel like I've gotten past that a little bit.
Yeah,
like maybe I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know what you mean, and I feel like.
But like
Yeah.
one of my good friends, like that, if you make it like on if you made it on a national commercial or something like that, I'd be like over the moon.
Mhm.
Just it's like if it's the friends, like my close friends that I made in this industry,
Mhm.
those are the ones that I'm like hoping Derek Crow gets on some
Oh yeah,
big thing like
definitely.
in Hollywood. I'm hoping Cheryl gets on something big. I'm hoping that
Mhm.
all of you guys whenever I see somebody that I really care about, like,
You're
you know,
hoping
making
that
it,
they
I'm
like
like,
succeed.
yes,
Yeah.
I know
Yes!
them. I'm actually really good friends with them.
That's
Yeah,
awesome. Like I feel like we do have to have a little bit of like pumping each other up and like being encouraging because
and you know
Yeah.
what? It really matters because look, when I wrote and directed Secret Bliss,
uh-huh.
Mhm.
I mean that didn't happen because I'm some like super talented person, right? That
Mhm.
happened because I worked with a bunch of talented people before, and they were willing to help me out to bring this like story to life, you know? And all these people that helped me in this process were all like the most talented people in their respective thing.
Mhm.
Like Leo, I got Leo on as a cinematographer, and he's like one of the best in the business. I got the
Yeah.
best editor, Michael Fredinelli, and then I had you working on it, and I had Brian Wilkes working on it. I had you know, Dom Hecht, and I had all these moving parts where I could actually just kind of relax a little. Even though I was stressed out, I could relax a little because I knew I was in good hands. Because like, and that was, you know, if I didn't make those connections
Mhm.
before, like, there's no way in hell that would have been. You know, you see some people that don't have any connections and they're trying to make it, and everybody's skeptical. They don't know who to trust, and you end up getting like some crappy, you know, short film or something like
Yeah.
that. It's because they don't have those connections yet. You know what I mean? And the great thing about like us and like the with Wild Dogs and stuff like that, like we get to work with each other over and over again, seeing that this is somebody that I trust. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
Hold on, I think the turkey's ready in the oven, so we're gonna take a quick break. So we'll be right back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, well, let's go check out the turkey
Okay.
board.
Okay.
All right, and we're back from break. We checked on the turkey. He got a little crisp and a little toasty in there, but now he's cooling down, and we'll eat him at the end of this episode. But
Okay.
Boynton was asking me about the script from the last episode, and yes, I do plan to finish it. And I did make some adjustments to the beginning with the dialogue, because when I wrote it, it was very much like first draft, because I was like, I gotta write something to keep the script moving.
Yeah.
But your favorite scene is unchanged. It's gonna be in there, so...
What scene is that?
You know the scene where the condoms?
Yeah. There was this one line on there where he said, where one of the characters says, "Well, somebody has to change the condoms between scenes."
No good.
What kind of movie are they making?
It could just be a movie with, you know, a romance sex scene in it, or it could be a porno. It's up
Yeah.
to the audience to really
It was
decide.
Which is kind of funny because in the long streak, Thor played the cinematographer during a scene where we're actually doing we're it was a part where the characters were shooting a porn, right? And he was the cinematographer holding the camera. Do you remember that part?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To be fair, I did not write that script. So I was just acting.
Yeah. But also this script that you're writing from the last episode, it's like very meta, right? It's like a sneak peek into what people in the industry go through, right?
So yeah, it's about these guys called movie fixers, and they keep the movies maintained. So if there's a light bulb that goes out in a movie, they have to change it.
Yeah.
So that's the main idea. And then it goes in an interesting direction. It was a good script to
Yeah.
write on screen or on the podcast, because even if you tried to steal that idea, you would take it in probably a really different direction than I
Yeah.
would. So
Yeah,
Nice.
I like movies like that though. I like movies that take you into the movie making world, even on just some like really like bare bones type of level, like, and it could be a little bit exaggerated even. I don't know if you guys ever saw this movie called The Disaster Artist.
I did.
So The Disaster Artist is about
Tommy
It's a-
Wiseau.
it's a movie about this guy named Tommy Wiseau who made a movie called The Room, which is considered like one of the worst movies of all time. But it's so bad that it's good, because have you ever seen movies like that? Like
Yeah.
this movie's so horrible and it's so unaware of how horrible it is that it's funny. So this guy in real life, his name's Tommy Wiseau, and super eccentric character with a very like ambiguous type of accent. Real silly guy, silly but lovable guy. But James Franco plays him in this movie called The Disaster Artist, and it's all about Tommy Wiseau and the making of this movie called The Room. And it's a hilarious movie, but it's actually a really well written movie as well. Like I highly recommend it.
It's
It's
good.
called The
Okay.
Disaster Artist, because there's some parts in that. There's this part where James Franco is playing Tommy Wiseau, and he goes up to a man in the restaurant, played by Judd Apatow, and he goes up to him and he said, "I know you, your biggest Hollywood producer," and then he starts reciting, reciting a few lines by Marlon Brando in an old movie, and in the middle of a restaurant.
Okay.
And then the producer says, he said, "Tommy, stop." He said, "Even if you had Marlon Brando's talent, the chance is 1 in a billion."
Mm-hmm.
And then he was like, and he said, he basically telling him, "And you have no talent." Like, so what he was saying is, even if you are the most talented person in the world, it's still like 1 in a million, because there's a lot of things that come into play when to become like a big famous star. It's like timing, it's luck, it's who you meet, what project you become a part of, if it's a good movie, all these different things. And sometimes the stars align for certain people, and it shoots them out of the ether. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And they suddenly they have like a big illustrious career because of one launching point. But that really hit hard when I heard that line. Even if you had Brando's talent, it's still 1 in
Your
a
odds,
million.
yeah.
And it made me think about like myself. I was like, what am I doing? What am I doing? You ever think? I mean, do you ever have these conversations with yourself, like out of anger or frustration? I love acting, so don't. But there are some of those feelings. If I'm going to be completely honest, there are those feelings associated with this business.
There are moments where it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
are we spending too much money on this film?
Yeah.
But it's the passion. Like, the passion has to be there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if you're doing it because you love the art and like you love storytelling,
Mm-hmm.
then that's why you should be doing it.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
as we talked about, like those people who like try to do it for fame, I don't think they're going to get far, because they're going to get burned out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, if it's for the fame, then, that's going to be disappointing, because, I mean, even actors who make it to, say, the B-list, like,
The B-list is actually like hard
that's
to get on.
really, yeah, it's really, and you probably have a lot more longevity, because sometimes you get to the A-list and then, you get tired.
Well, I think also the A-list is like once you're at that level, being knocked down a peg, like it means a lot. You know what I mean? But there's a lot of B-list actors that they get consistent fucking work. You know
Yeah,
what I
but they're
mean?
not household names.
Yeah,
They're not
yeah.
super famous.
Yeah.
So those, people who are in it for the fame, it's like,
Mhm.
ultimately, I think it's going to be, disappointing for them.
Right, right. And it's too hard to be famous now because there's way too many people out there. There's way too many channels, there's way too many programs that work way you know how many like actors how many years it took for me to realize an actor was actually famous? Like a lot of current actors that are like considered A-list, I just started catching up to their career like recently, you know, like yeah, I'm trying to think of one. Like what's his name? From The Last of Us.
Yeah,
Pedro Pascal.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
like I used to see his face here and there, but now like in the last few years, he's on everything, right?
He's blown
He's
up.
completely blown up. Yeah.
And then now I look back at like it's him popping
He
up
was
in
around
random. I
for
was
a
like, oh,
long time.
he's been in a lot of stuff, and I was like, oh, there he is. Oh, there
Yeah.
he is. And just like recently, like you know, he's like this real strong A-list celebrity now. It's just like, oh, he's been around forever. It's just I didn't really know who it was all that time. You know what I mean? But now he's a household name, you know?
Yeah, well, and that's the thing, and I've noticed this kind of trend too. Like a lot of actor, like the more well known you get, the more you're supposed to make it look like it just happened for you. Like you read their bios, it's like, yeah, they
Right.
just got into acting and they got into this role and then they blew up, and it's like as an actor, you know, it was not that simple. And they don't have the credits from all that beginning stuff on their IMDb. Like they have a clean slate with just the big things they've done. And sure, there's a lot of actors who just went straight from school to booking. I know that's the thing. Like Anya Chalotra, who's in The Witcher, like she just went straight from school to having an amazing agent because of the school she was in and because she's an amazing actor. And then she got The Witcher. So she legitimately didn't do anything before that. But most of the time, it's like they did work on all this stuff, but now they're just erasing all of that to make it look like they were just the best.
It was meant to be, yeah.
And yeah, most of the time it didn't happen that way.
Yeah, no.
There was a lot more steps, and it's kind of disheartening when they do that, you know? And something I've noticed a lot too with a lot of actors, like everywhere. I think this happens everywhere. Like actors who act like they're above what they're doing, the films they're in right now. It's like you have to be aware and appreciate everyone who gives you work because, maybe that indie film, like maybe you think you're above doing indie films or you're above doing this little role, but like that person, this is their baby. This is their baby. And the fact that they placed enough trust in you to help them bring their baby to life, that's huge. And those are the people, years down the road, if you, become well known, if you become successful, those are the people who are going to be rooting for you, or they're going to be saying that person sucks. Like,
right.
The other advantage of indie films is that you have creative control to take any risks you want. Because, like, if you do become, like, a really big director and you, like, work at Disney, you're going to be working on, like, a Marvel film or, like, a live-action Disney remake. And then you don't have as much, like, creative say when there's a bunch more people involved.
A lot of bigger films, you don't have as much creative say, and like maybe there's less creative license, and I love working on indie films. Like I plan to always be an actor who's working on indie films, like and hopefully I'll get some Disney or something too, but like, I always want to be that indie actor. Like, Meryl Streep, a lot of her films were not huge box office successes, but they were so character driven and they were indie films. And that's the route I would like to take, like the character driven stories.
I think some of the best work from actors are from films that nobody's really ever seen. Like, I'm a big fan of Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and he was a child actor, and he was in the TV show called Third Rock from the Sun, and it was, it's about that family. They're like aliens here on Earth or whatever, and he was a little kid back then, but after Third Rock from the Sun was done as a TV show, he in his early to mid 20s. He's about my age. I think he's about 1 year younger than me. But which would make him 42 and I'm 43. But in his 20s he did almost nothing but like small budget indie films. I mean, for us it would be considered larger budget, but like for him it was considered very low budget indie films. And I watched a lot of those films because I'm a huge fan of his, and they're really, really freaking good. I mean, I think he was in one called The Lookout, one called Hesher, and then like I think after he did 500 Days of Summer, which was like a kind of a larger budget indie film.
Yeah.
And it won all these awards in the film festivals. Great movie if you haven't seen it. 500 Days of Summer. I'm not that into rom-coms, but that one is pretty good.
It was good.
And very stylistic. Like the choices that were made in making that film was very creative. But yeah, like I and a lot of the work that I saw that was the best of Joseph Gordon-Levitt was before he started getting into all these big studio films, because like after Inception and everything, he started doing more like, you know, budget heavy type of films. So I don't necessarily think the best movies are the ones that
Make the most money.
they dump millions into. I can tell you, I mean, there's a lot of movies. I looked at the budget and I'm like, wow, you just spent money. You spent a lot of money on like great actors, but you didn't
Get good performances. Yeah.
No, it just wasn't that good of a movie. Sometimes it's not well written. Sometimes it's, but yeah, things like that. There's so many different things that determine what makes a great movie. I watched one movie that I hadn't seen since the pandemic. I watched it a couple nights ago. But did you guys ever watch this movie called Palm Springs?
No.
Oh, do you guys have Hulu by any chance?
Yes.
Yeah.
Watch it when you get a chance. It has Andy Samberg and what's the name of that the girl that played the mother in How I Met Your Mother, the one that became the mother. Something Aliotti.
Not the best with the
I didn't
names.
really I didn't see a lot of that show.
Let me see. Palm Springs. But I think you guys will love it. It's like one of the best comedies that I've seen in recent years. And I think Andy Samberg had a hand in. Her name is Kristen Milioti.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's a show that has that uses the concept of being stuck in a time loop.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, have you seen like Groundhog Day?
Yeah.
So Groundhog Day, or I guess if you put it like in a sci-fi setting, have you ever seen Edge of Tomorrow?
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know if I've seen that. I did watch
saw that,
Death
right?
Day, Happy Death Day.
Happy Death Day.
Yeah, that one was fun.
Wait, Happy Death Day.
It's like the horror take on Groundhog's Day.
Oh, so it's another stuck in a time loop thing.
Yeah.
I love stuck in a time loop.
You like the Death
You
Day
should
one?
watch-
It's funny.
There's also a sequel. Have you seen the sequel?
I didn't see the sequel.
Okay. It's
Death
not as
what?
good.
It's as good or not as
It's
good?
not quite as good as the first one, but it's still a fun
Okay.
movie. So
Death what?
Happy Death Day.
Happy Death Day. Happy Death Day.
And it's
Yeah.
about a girl who she basically gets killed, but then she wakes up and relives the same day, and so she's,
Yeah, and she's like the kind of the mean girl at
Yeah.
her college. Yeah.
We gotta. I mean, somebody in our group of filmmaking friends, I think we got to do it like a stuck in a time loop.
a time
type
loop
movie.
story.
Yeah,
Those
that
are
would be
so
fun.
much fun.
Yeah.
Like it's just like there's so many different things that you could do with that. You know?
Let me just add that to my script backlog.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited for this next film you have coming up. I know we can't say a lot about it, but
You're talking about
The guard room.
well, I'm excited for that one too. But
wait,
no, the next
the,
one.
the bad bitches.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
okay.
bad
Or
Bitches? Oh.
Yeah.
yeah. So
I still need to read it. Oh yeah. Keep
I was
forgetting.
thinking there is a chance if the actor could play both Draculas and we just like age him with makeup.
That would be funnier, in my
So-
opinion.
You gotta, because there's two characters I had in mind for you that I think you.
For me?
Yeah.
Oh, snap.
Oh, I
Okay.
didn't know he didn't know.
I-
I knew.
Okay, now I really gotta read the script.
That was why I looked at you. I'm like, yeah, the next thing.
I was just like, so I'm thinking like I have like the Dracula hairline, but but I have that pronounced
Yeah, you
like
do.
I have that hairline, yeah, and but I was thinking like I don't think Dracula's ever been Asian.
I mean, we could.
They're gonna be
We
like,
could do
oh,
it.
they're these woke people. They're trying to push an Asian Dracula. I'm like, oh no.
I mean, we'll see what you think between
Okay,
the other
okay.
character, because there's another character called Sebastian, and I think would be fun to play.
Sebastian. I've always loved that name.
That's
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, and then I'm also making a movie about a stuffed animal death metal band with
Ooh,
Holly's family, so that one's gonna be pretty good.
nice. I love the tone of your film. The tones of your films. It's always very like tangible. Like you have a very specific tone, and like you don't know what's gonna happen, but like you can tell from the opening scene. It's like, okay, like I get the vibe of this film. Like
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Has this been done before? Maybe I'm just thinking about a movie. I think it may have even been like an. Oh, have you seen this movie about? I think it's called. I think it's a Japanese or Korean movie. It's called One Cut of the Dead.
No,
I don't think so.
So I think it was a movie about making a zombie movie, and in the process of making the zombie movie, actual zombie things are actually taking place, and they're trying to make this movie, and then I it's been years since I've watched this movie, but I think that's like a one cool way to go like meta about something like that, like that the fictional world somehow enters the the world of movie making.
That's actually been a concept I thought about before too, like making a movie doing a zombie apocalypse.
That sounds awesome.
And it's like, why are you going outside the barrier? And you're like, we gotta finish this movie.
Yeah,
This is gonna make some great footage.
I could totally see Freddy in one of those. Yeah, yeah.
But what did you think of Agent of Solitude?
Oh, that was cool, man.
It's pretty epic.
Yeah, man. I mean, definitely, they definitely spent some money on some of the, like the CGI, and the effects were really cool, and yeah, it was a pretty thrilling type of ride that Wild Dogs went for.
So yeah, the stunt work was really impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was very impressed with some of the performances. Michael Fredinelli, one of the best actors, not only a great filmmaker, but also one of the best actors I've seen. Just
After working with him on the guard room, yeah, he's like really good.
yeah.
Yeah.
His instincts are just primo. Yeah, I had a small part in that film too. So, and actually, after it came out, I immediately cut that performance into
Right, I saw it.
current reel, and I was happy to, because that's the one I was waiting for. I was just like, I'm not gonna cut, because I recorded that, I filmed that back in June, and I said I'm not gonna cut a new reel until I have that one.
That was like your Wild Dogs reel, because it was all like your past.
Yep. I put
Roles.
nothing but Wild Dog stuff, and I could use some of the stuff from other movies, but I think like the most impressive stuff I've had in the last few years
It's from
came
Wild
from
Dogs.
those particular performances. And I had to be a little bit selective, because I wanted to show off my range.
Yeah.
So, and I think I did a pretty good job on putting that on display, because from one clip to the next, I was completely different. And the Agent of Solitude was great. I mean, Freddie did a great job, and the other lead, Jamil, he did a really good job as well.
Yeah, he seemed like he had fun in his role, because he got to like be the bad guy.
Yeah. And we
Yeah.
got to see Olga in there. And,
Yeah, all the acting was on point.
yeah. Oh, and Gabe Rios.
Oh,
Man,
yeah, all those fight scenes especially were
And
dope.
and like a good actor too. Like I haven't
Yeah.
seen that much of Gabe's acting, but I was like, damn, Gabe could be like a lead in a film. I mean, he has the looks for it, very handsome guy, and he can do his own stunts. I mean, why not, you know?
Yeah, one of my favorite parts is the beach scene where he was trying to get the Fred's character like to get on the beach.
When they switch-
Oh,
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
But just thinking about how they had to film that because they had to get him like way up on the hill because they had that like drone shot.
Right.
And so I wonder if Leo was like way on the hill and he had to like film. Yeah, thinking about the logistics of like filming that.
Yeah.
Because when you watch it, you don't think about like the amount of work that like would go into it. But
You know, one thing I think Wild Dogs has done great with like building connections with like talented actors, but they also have like a great catalog of actors to work with of all different ages. So I think they know like Bob Payne is like one of the best actors like over, you know, age 50, 60 years old. I think he's just and it's great that they have access to such a talented person, and then everything going all the way down to the youngest people, like the one that played the kid in Autumn Moon as the younger version of the main character.
Yeah,
I
he
mean,
was great.
I think his name's Gideon, but also very talented. So it's just it's nice to see that they've tapped into like all the entire spectrum of different types of actors as far as looks, age range, you know, male, female. I mean, and you only get that over an extended period of time because you see a lot of these people working in their films over and over again. So, yeah.
what is your favorite or one of your favorite Wild Dogs films, Cheryl?
I did have a list. Well, one of my favorites originally had been One Against the House, and then I really loved Quiet Murders. I think that's one of my
That's one of my favorites. I love that one. Yeah. I
Yeah.
told Bob that last time I saw him because Bob actually gave me a little bit of praise last time
Oh, that's awesome.
for my role in Agent of Solitude, and then I told him I was like, you know, Quiet Murders is like one of my favorite Wild Dogs films,
Yeah.
and I always mentioned that to Mike Fredinelli, so he was there to vouch for me too. He was like, yeah, he always talks about it, so yeah, that was a fun one.
Because One Against the House used to be like
I still love that
Yeah.
one. That's
and Loose
such a great-
Change. Loose Change was awesome too.
Loose Change was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really, really good film. That looked like it was a lot of fun to do.
Yeah, it
too.
looked like it was a lot of fun to shoot.
Did you see The Nothing Man?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
Have you seen it
I have
yet?
not.
That's the one I think they put directly into streaming.
Yeah.
Right. Well, because it was just the 2 or 3 actors, so they're like
Yeah, I think it's Xana and I
Fred.
forgot.
her
No,
boyfriend.
her boyfriend. Yeah, in real life.
Yeah.
I think that's her real life boyfriend, and they're in it together. So
And then Michael.
yeah, Michael.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, is her boyfriend an actor too? Or
Yeah. He was
Okay.
in
He was
in
in
Loose
Loose
Change.
Change,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
And he was
He was in
in
something else too.
Yeah, wasn't he in this last one? It's all starting
I
to
know.
get mixed up in my head.
Yeah.
But he's a good actor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing I will say is the last few Wild Dogs films have been like
Yeah,
really
really
good.
good.
If you want to talk about like the performance of a lifetime though, Matt Monaco in Autumn Moon,
Oh, he was
That-
Yeah.
I think that's number one out of every Wild Dogs performance I've ever seen. That had to be number one.
Yeah, it's super.
The guy's like
inspiring.
confidence. You like can feel it.
Mhm.
Like when he's
That-
like doing his lines, like
Like that guy in my head, it's just like this is what I'm talking about when we like. To me, that's A-list quality.
Mhm.
That guy should be winning Oscars right now. That guy should be in, working in a movie with Christopher Nolan or something like that, or
Mhm.
because you see talent like that, and I'm not saying he's the only one that's that way, but that goes to show you like how many other factors go into whether you become, famous or or end up in the A-list or not, and it doesn't have to do necessarily with
Well, just
talent.
because he's not there yet doesn't
Yeah.
mean he won't be. Like
I
I'm
hope to
I'm
see
sure
him.
He will.
I
yeah.
hope to see him. Yeah,
Mhm.
because he's incredible. I look
Yeah.
at him, you know, he's one of those actors that I see and I'm like, should I be acting? You know what I mean? You know, like when I see that, I'm like,
You fall into the compare and despair.
yeah. I'm like, I'm not like that. I'm like, I think I'm a good actor, but I'm not like that.
But see, like that's just like it's motivating though. It's
Yeah.
inspiring. It's like, oh, that's where I can be, you know?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
it's just that, you know, they've been working at it a little longer. Like
yeah. And you could tell he's so in tune with his craft.
mm-hmm.
Like you could see it. It's just he's in the zone.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Well,
And that's
because,
like that's what's so great about acting. Like when you get to that point, it's very cathartic. You
Yeah.
know? Like you get to like use your life and your experiences to tell a story and be seen by other people
Yeah.
who've maybe had similar experiences, and you get to make other people feel seen.
yeah, and it's just like the what I love about it is like having that freedom of creativity.
Mm-hmm.
Like especially like when I got to do this last role in Agent of Solitude, I kind of asked Mike. I was like, "Hey, I feel like you know putting on kind of an accent, you know, putting on some weird character traits," and he was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Do what you want with it." And I said, I'll let you know if
It's too
anything
much
needs to
or
change or yeah." And he gave me complete freedom. And I was actually pretty happy with how I did with that one because I was like, that is something I did not get to do for you know, that is a part of my reel that never existed before. Like that character.
Yeah.
And I was allowed to do it. I was allowed to change his voice, change his accent, all these things.
I think that's like a cool part from the director's point of view is seeing how the actors kind of will interpret
yeah.
the characters and how they like bring them to life.
Mm-hmm.
Because like you guys kind of bring a little bit of your experience into it, so and then yeah, it's like depending on who you cast, you get like a unique performance.
Yeah.
So
Is that something that you want to do too? Like go super like eccentric character route? Like
Yeah, I like doing like if it's right for the role, if it's right for the tone of the film, then like yeah, I love doing something that's totally different.
and you can do it because I mean I remember seeing you at the was it the it was the haunted house thing.
Oh
and you were
yeah,
like
yeah, that was fun.
yeah,
That was a lot
and
of
you
fun.
put on this cool accent, and you were like, "Don't cry, because if you cry, I'll fucking kill." No, I don't know if
Yeah,
you said
yeah.
that, but it was really cool because you like it was pretty effortless too. I was like, you could really like go on full on, you know, weird character route if you wanted to.
Thanks. Yeah, I enjoy doing it from time to time. Like, yeah, it's really fun. This last year, I haven't been as focused on that. I've been more focused on like the emotional work and like, you know, more internal work. But like, I think I think what makes the best characters and like the funniest characters is when you combine the two, like have the inner work and the like crazy, like, I don't know, funny characteristics.
Yeah, yeah, it's really interesting because it's all encompassing. Like when you have these choices to make, it's like, how am I going to deliver this line, and what's my timing going to look like? What kind of facial expressions am I going to have when I? That's kind of like why I like. Pretty soon, I really want to do a comedy. Because I think there's so many things that you can do with comedy as far as like your timing and the way you deliver certain lines and you can be a little bit more you have more of the freedom to exaggerate a little, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, comedy is fun because it's a lot more of a challenge in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Like there's so many little like it's a math equation, but there's like so many little factors that can throw it off or make it even funnier that you don't realize until you see the final product and you're like, whoa, like that part was funny. Or like that didn't land the way I thought it was going to. And you don't find out until you watch it with other people.
yeah.
I like the tone of comedy too. It's just like I even noticed like even in films and stuff like the color correction for comedy is completely different than what they use for drama. And I don't know, there's something bright about it and like very
it's a lot more
energetic.
saturated, a lot more light.
Yeah.
And it's a fun world to live in for an hour and a half or however long it is.
But I'm a little biased because comedy's my favorite genre.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd rather watch a movie that makes you laugh than makes you feel depressed. So
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you know what's funny is my second favorite genre is drama.
Mhm.
So it just depends on my mood. Do I want to laugh or do I want to get depressed? I like both of those feelings because they're like
Mhm.
they make you feel things to like a very extreme level.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The movies that I don't watch too much are horror films.
Until
I got you.
until you watch Happy Death Day.
Oh yeah, Happy Death Day.
Yeah, I mean, that's a funny one.
Well, and no, I used to love horror films when I was a teenager, but now it's like I don't know. It's just I don't know. It's just I don't need to. I like a horror film that's done right, like that's really engaging and like I'm like, oh, that was interesting. I don't like gratuitous like gore. Like I don't know. I'm just not into it.
Yeah.
It's just it needs to be a little clever at least for me. So
Did you know that there was a werewolf Santa Claus movie that came out?
that I would watch. A werewolf Santa Claus.
Yeah, is that recent? Because I feel like I saw something like.
I think it came out like a few months ago. It's like an indie
okay.
film from the UK.
That sounds hilarious.
Wait, what's your number one genre in film?
Thriller.
Okay.
Yeah, like suspense thriller.
Give me an example.
One of my favorite movies is Nightcrawler. I also
That is a great film. One of Jake Gyllenhaal's best.
yeah, or like that film I just told you about, Fair Play.
Mm.
You haven't seen it yet.
Fair Play. Who's in it?
It's what's her name? She was in
We need one of those people that just like
I know you're
looks
gonna
up stuff.
I know you're
Yeah.
gonna edit this part out. That's why I feel okay doing it. It's
I
with
don't
Phoebe
know.
Denver and
It might be funny to keep this
Alden,
in.
Aaron Rich.
Oh yeah, it's
Yeah.
just this is current.
Yeah, Fair Play. It's a psychological thriller about
Oh.
this couple that works in the stock market. Super good. It's
It's
and-
a thriller then.
yeah, it's like a thriller, suspense thriller, psychological
Okay.
thriller. That's my favorite genre. That's my favorite genre, like playing on
Okay.
the characters and the psyche and things that make you think.
It's a
you
good
know?
genre.
Thrillers. Yeah, no, thrillers are good. But you know, like it's really hard to think like what is a thriller? There's so many different kind of movies that could
Well, there's the
be
crime
categorized.
thrillers,
Crime
and then
thrillers,
there's
suspense
like the
thrillers.
social commentary thrillers. or,
Cross
like-
over into the horror genre
Yeah.
too a bit.
Mm.
Yeah.
You know, like I was thinking about when you mentioned Nightcrawler. I remember when I watched Nightcrawler, the same year I watched that movie, I had also watched Gone Girl. Have you seen Gone
yeah.
Girl?
hmm
That was a good movie. What did
That
you
was a
think?
good. Well, I read the book first.
Okay, so I mean, so I never read the book, so
Yeah.
maybe the book was better because people always say
No,
that.
the movie was pretty on point. It was on point, but I think just because I already knew what was
You
going to
already knew it was
happen,
gonna
I was
happen,
like, yeah, but it was good. Like I thought the casting was perfect.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
yeah, super well done.
Yeah.
hmm
All right.
Great
well,
movie.
one more question. What's your to go music genre like?
My to-go music genre.
Yes.
Well, like it depends on my mood. But you know, I always fall back on 2000s rock,
Okay. Good genre.
Oh, well, what bands?
like Slipknot
Okay.
Red Vein,
or Manson.
Manson.
Okay.
Zombie,
Oh, I love Zombie.
Korn.
Was
You
it?
can never go wrong with
I'm
Korn.
trying to think because I don't know that genre very well.
The new metal
was
era.
Tool? Was Tool?
Tool's kind of
Yeah, I'm not
more
as much into Tool. That's more. It's got a psychedelic energy,
Prog.
yeah,
Yeah.
to it.
Okay, so
It's a little different, but still, yeah. Tool is awesome. Yeah, I think a lot of that genre of rock fans also appreciate
That was like
Tool.
a time capsule of music for like.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah,
it was a
it-
very specific time,
Okay.
and like
Well-
the generation before that one kind of looks down on that music.
But me and you grew up during we were like kids during that
Yeah.
era, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, with me, I mean, I think I'm closer to around a decade older than the two of you, but
yeah,
um,
if we're
yeah.
the same age, so
Yeah. So, but I know all those bands that you guys are talking about too. I've heard of them. I just don't know what they sound like. I wouldn't be able to tell you one of their songs.
Yeah, like that's what my friends were like. Everyone was listening to in my friend group when I was.
Were you goth
16.
like back then? Were you like into?
Not. I mean, I was in heart, but I didn't really have like the clothes and the makeup and stuff.
Did you listen to System of a Down?
Yeah, I did. Like, I'm not like their sound is a little different. It doesn't like speak to me as much, but I definitely used to listen to their music a lot.
Have you listened to the newer Slipknot albums?
I have. I really like the route they're taking with it.
Yeah. The new stuff is good. So.
Their new stuff is good. It's a little more melodic than their older stuff, but like that's what I like about Slipknot is that they always have been melodic.
Yeah. All right, Boynton, any last minute questions before we have to go?
No, I mean, I'm
Take care of this
sure
turkey.
I'll come up with stuff later, but the show will be good, and we'll probably have you back on again if you're, as long as you're
I'll
down.
come back.
And then, like, we're talking like if we ever have reoccurring guests, then we could step away from just like industry specific topics altogether, and we could just just going on all sorts of tangents about different things.
We could. Or we could try writing a script together.
Oh, that could you know what? I've seen that happen.
Really?
But it was crazy because it was with Bobby Lee and Andrew Santino on Bad Friends, and they made crazy stories, like ridiculous stories. They would like one person would start the story, and then you would say the next part of the story. Then it would be me, and then him, and we'd go around. And who knows what people, what we'd come up with. Yeah.
All right. Who wants to say the fun stuff? The subscribe and like.
Oh yeah. Sherill,
you got it?
Yeah.
Okay.
What did she say?
Like it's like thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe.
Oh, you say something like, "Thank you for listening to Thor and the Boy. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe."
Yes.
Or something like that.
Yeah.
You can say it in your own way.
All right. Well, thanks for listening to Thor and the Boy. This has been a really fun episode to make, and I hope you'll like and subscribe.
All right.
That
Now,
good?
yeah, that's good. I guess we should go check on that turkey, right?
Oh, God. The turkey again.
Thor and the Boy is brought to you by Magical Hammer Productions. Our producer is Boynton Paek. This podcast is edited by Michael Thordarson. Thanks to our music tracks. Our intro track is Next Steps by Half.Cool, and our ending music is Honky Tonk Jazzy theme created by Freedom Trail Studio. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast and stay tuned for the next episode.